Yo, what the f? How come nobody told me about the HyperX Pulse Fire Haste? This mouse is seriously something special. Over the past year to 2 years, it's been really crazy for mice, and now we're seeing some of the mainstream PC peripheral makers come into the space and try their luck at lightweight mice, smaller keyboards. Now, a lot of these mainstream companies for years got away with just putting out some BS. They could put out whatever they want. It's on the shelf at Best Buy. You can go there, you can buy it. Most people won't know what they're buying. They're just like, hey, this looks cool, let me buy it. They don't really care about the quality. It could break down in a year, 2 years. They didn't really care. But now with so many options, companies can't get away with bullshit anymore. And I think that's what we're seeing here with the Pulse Fire Haste. HyperX knows they can't get away with BS, right? They're going up against all these manufacturers now. There's the G-Wolves. There's all these off-name brands now like G-Wolves. There's Gloria's doing big things, and they're super popular. So HyperX has no choice. They got to put out something good, and I believe that they did that. Before we begin though, guys, I have a word from our sponsor, Morning Brew. I, like many of you guys, start my day off by grabbing my cell phone, going on social media, trying to find vital pieces of information, just so I'm caught up on the day-to-day news of what's going on around the world. And after about 30 minutes, you've learned nothing, and now you're late to start your day. If this sounds like you, then I have the perfect solution for you. It is Morning Brew. By signing up with Morning Brew, they'll send you a newsletter that's compiled with the latest news from business, tech, finance, and the best part of it is it only takes 5 minutes to read the whole thing. That means there's more time in the morning to do what matters most to you. And some of these stories that I've read on Morning Brew since signing up, I would have never seen otherwise. I'm pretty sure of it. And this is no ordinary newsletter, as it's presented in a witty, fun, and easy to read format. It's not super wordy, and it gets straight to the point, and it's a joy to read every single morning. There's a lot of great stories on here that will impress your family and friends, and you can aware them about what's going on in the world, and you're gonna make yourself look even smarter in their eyes. So what are you waiting for? Hit that link in the description, head on over to Morning Brew, enter your email, and change your mornings forever. It's completely free, and it only takes 15 seconds to subscribe. Now for $50, this is considered a budget mouse at this point. We've seen mice at $60 to $80, but I hate the word budget, okay? There's just a negative connotation around it, like it's less than or not as good as some of these other mice. But this HyperX did a really good job on this mouse. The build quality on it is spectacular. From the new paracord type cable that feels excellent. You don't even need a bungee for it. There's no side flex, so when you press in really hard on the sides, their structural integrity is amazing. They put on some pure virgin PTFE feet on here. They put on the TTC micro golden switches on here as well. They really did a good job of putting all these enthusiast type materials into this mouse. Now this mouse is weighing in at 59 grams on their scale. On mine, I got around 60, which is still really good. And the PCB inside, what I noticed is it's not as big as some of these other mice that are out. And because of this mouse feels actually lighter than it actually is because it's very well balanced. It almost feels like it's around 50 to 55 grams. In the box, they've also added in some PTFE feet, some extra ones. They didn't used to do that, so you know that they've been listening. They've also added in some grips in there as well that you can put onto the sides of the mouse and on the mouse 1 and 2. You used to be surprised if you would see something like this, and now it seems like it's becoming the standard within mice. So we've done our job, guys. We've been complaining for years now. We're finally getting what we want. All that bitching and all that moaning is paying off, okay? I really love the shape of this mouse. Let me explain what they did. So they kind of took the approach of like a G Pro wireless or Superlight, as they put the hump near the middle, which makes it viable for palm, claw, and fingertip grip. Now this is a medium-sized mouse. It really reminds me of like a SteelSeries Aerox or an XM1, that kind of claw grip mouse, but the hump is more towards the middle and the back is a little bit more flattened out. So if you're a medium-handed user like myself, I'm at 19 by 8.5 centimeters, you are going to love this mouse. And if you have smaller hands, because that hump is near the middle and because the buttons are so good, which I will get into later, you can actually claw grip this mouse if you have smaller hands as well. Even though the side buttons are easy to reach, I wish they were a little bit bigger. And if you have bigger hands, you can throw on those grips and it's gonna add a few centimeters to each side and on the top, making it feel a lot bigger, and it'll fill out your hand a little bit more. I think you can go as far as a 22 centimeters at the high end, especially if you put on the side grips. And then for width, this is a good sized mouse. It's not too slender. It strikes a nice balance. So I say 10 centimeters across is a good distance for your hand. So yeah, it really reminds me of like if the XM1 and an M42 from XTRFI had a baby together. One thing I do want to mention before we move on to the buttons is the PTF eFeet could be a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker, but that's just me nitpicking. Now also the buttons are really nice. Like I said, they have those TTC golden micro switches in here that are dust proof. They are clicky and I love them. All the way up and down the clicks just feel amazing. So whether at the front of the mouse or near the middle of the mouse on the button, they feel great. Now I have this new claw grip style where my fingers kind of hit this portion right here, and it's still super clicky. So like I said, when you have smaller hands, you're not going to be sacrificing anything by having your fingers rest a little bit higher up on the button. Now the side buttons are okay. I wish they were a little bit better. There's a lot of pre-travel and they're a little bit tough if you ask me. They did break in a little bit as I used the mouse, so keep that in mind when you buy this mouse, that they will change over time. They kind of evened out. The back button when I first started was a little bit tougher, but now it's a little bit crispier. They're not the best, but they're also not the worst. The scroll wheel feels really nice. It's light but also ridged. It strikes a very nice balance. The DPI button feels nice as well if you want to remap that in the software. The DPI does show a change, an indication on the scroll wheel when you do click on it. All right, let's drop a sound test so you guys can hear what this mouse sounds like. Oh yeah. Now you can remap the buttons in the software. There's macros in the Ingenuity HyperX software. Also, you can change the DPI as well in there. Now, when I first used this mouse, I didn't look at any of the stats for the first week. I just used the mouse, I just took it out, and I tried not to be biased, like, oh, it's using this kind of sensor, let me look out for certain things. I just use it and see how it feels. And the way this mouse felt was spectacular. I didn't notice any irregularities that would alarm me or let me know that this mouse is using a 3335 sensor. I thought the whole time I was using a 3389 sensor. The liftoff distance is not annoying like on some other implementations of the 3335, so that was nice to see. There is no spin outs, there is no jitteriness, there was no loss of tracking while putting the mouse down. Very accurate mouse, I loved using it. And for $50, it doesn't feel like you're making any concessions or you're giving up something by going with this mouse. So yes, you can call it a budget mouse, but the performance of it is far from budget. In fact, I'm really happy that they're gonna offer this in stores like Best Buy. You're gonna be able to go to the store and buy one. That means people have more of a chance not to buy a G502, and that's a dub in my opinion. So from the build quality to the buttons to the performance to the sensor, everything is just clicking on all cylinders with this mouse. I love it. So it gets a really high recommendation from me, whether you're looking for a budget option or even if you have the money to spend, it's still a great option. And I don't know if I said this, but the build quality on this is far superior to the higher priced Aerox 3. Okay, so that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It has been your boy BT. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.